Hey y'all, welcome back to Creating Hanley. My name is Kimberly here at Creating Hanley. And in today's episode, we are going over April Fool's Day. So don't be fooled by April. No, actually, I want to talk about JoAnn Fabrics. So what is happening with JoAnn Fabrics? So right now, April 1st, 2025, JoAnn Fabrics is going out of business. But what happened to lead to this point? So do your research on your own. There's a lot of other channels out there talking about it. It's in the news. It's in newsprint. You can find it online. But in a nutshell, I don't think JoAnn Fabrics was underperforming that horribly. I think maybe some stores. Now I say I think because I did not read the profit and loss statements. I don't know what is actually happening. I didn't work for JoAnn, but I did buy a lot of fabric there. So I have a vested interest. In fact, here's a little side note. The store that JoAnn Fabrics is now housed in the area that I live in used to be a children's palace, which back in the day, like in the 70s, was a children's toy store. And now I go to the same building and it's a fabric store. And I'm not going to say adult toy store because that's a whole different thing, but it's a fabric store, which I absolutely love. So I go to the same building when I was a kid and I go there now when I'm an adult. Totally different things, but I get to play with fabric there or at home when I bring it home. Anyway, I digress. That was weird. And now my cat wants to say hello. But JoAnn Fabrics. So, check out some other channels. They talk about JoAnn Fabrics going out of business. Oh, here she is. What's happening? What's going on? What's the future? And I'm going to talk about the private equity part of it because that is important, and I don't think many people are paying attention to that. And also, what really underpinning like all of this in 2025, like what is really going on right now. So, but I want you all to do your own research. Look at this cat. She's so silly. And you come to your own conclusions. But this is something that's I'm kind of thinking about right now. In this era right now in 2025. So I'm going to read you the Wikipedia definition of private equity. Now it's 3 paragraphs, so you can go to Wikipedia and see for yourself, but I'll just read it and see what you think. Private equity is a company that bought JoAnn Fabrics because apparently JoAnn Fabrics was not doing well, so they filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Well, once you file for bankruptcy, that wipes out all of your debt. So you should be good going forward. Well, what happened is JoAnn was bought out by a private equity company. And if any of you have ever been employed by a company that was bought out by private equity, you know all too well that your job was gone. Because private equity firms tank those companies. They run them into the ground, and they do this on purpose. And this is what's happening with JoAnn Fabrics. So let me read you the definition of private equity from the Wikipedia website. So you can go there yourself and read this. If it doesn't make sense to you, just go do some more research. But basically, private equity is stock in a private company that does not offer stock to the general public. She's like, what? Private equity is offered instead to specialized investment funds and limited partnerships that take an active role in management, and this is important, and structuring of the companies. In casual usage, private equity can refer to those investment firms rather than the companies in which they invest. So private equity capital is invested, so that's a different company. It's invested into the target company, either by an investment management company, which is a private equity firm, a venture capital fund, or an angel investor. And that's like a billionaire who just wants to play with some store. Each category of investor has specific financial goals, management preferences, and investment strategies for profiting from their investments. Anyway, they profit from their investments. So some companies, private equity, bought JoAnn Fabrics, and now they want to strangle it to get all the investment out of it that they possibly can. Let me continue. Private equity provides working capital to finance a target company's expansion, including the development of new products and services, operational restructuring, management changes, and shifts in ownership and control. Well, if we look at that sentence, there were, I don't know, did you see any new products or services being offered by JoAnn Fabrics? I didn't see any. In fact, I saw some clothes. In fact, the framing department that nobody ever went to was closed. That was a service that they offered that, shut down. New products or services, I don't know. Did you see any new product come in? Did you see any new services that came in? What happened to the room that they used for classes? I rarely saw anybody, probably never saw anybody in those classes. In fact, I'll tell you what, maybe 30 years, maybe 25-ish years ago, my aunt and I took a class there. That's how long ago we took a class. I really hadn't seen any classes offered from JoAnn in the recent. Now at this location, maybe at yours, there were classes on all the time. But anyway, I'm digressing. Operational restructuring. That just means that, well, you guys know what that means. The operations of the company is being restructured, and they're probably cutting some managers or, employees, which JoAnn pretty much ran on a skeleton crew anyway. So I don't know who they're cutting, but yeah, that wasn't that. They already ran on very little people in that whole big store anyway. But what I did see right after the first bankruptcy, the lights, instead of every light panel being lit, it was only every other light panel being lit. So they were trying to cut electricity bills, I guess. And the third paragraph says, as a financial product, the private equity fund is a type of private capital for financing a long-term investment strategy in an illiquid business enterprise. So basically they're saying, illiquid, I don't know. Usually when you sell off stuff, that's liquidation. So JoAnn had products. I mean, they had the paper. Besides fabric, they were crafting too. So they had that baking section. They had the flowers. They had the paper. They had the jewels, like the jewelry making section. They had all that kids stuff. So there was a lot more than just fabric. And so selling all that off, like right now with their sales, is liquidating the store's product. Private equity fund investing has been described as a financial press as the superficial rebranding of investment management companies who specialize in a leveraged buyout of financially weak companies. So basically what that is they're taking advantage of companies. Instead of the company going to the bank and saying, hey, we need a loan for, such and such. We want to expand. We want to do this. We want to pay some bills off. Here's how we're going to pay that back. And this is the amount of time that it's going to take for us, expected amount of time for us to pay that back. So instead of doing that, and then the bank just giving them the loan. They go to a third party. They go to a private equity firm who then buys them out. So now they don't have any operating speak in it. They have no say in the company anymore. And then that company then in turn says, well, you now owe us. You have a loan against us. Now you owe us on that loan. And since we now own the company, now you owe us rent for the property that you are in. So now that property that they were already on, that was theirs, they owe rent. And I think there's another fee involved in there too. But what it turns out to be is they can't stay in business any longer because they can't make those bills. So instead of this angel investor, this private equity firm that's supposed to be helping them, is actually tanking them. And they do it on purpose because they squeeze out as much equity from the company as possible and divide that amongst all of their investors, stockholders, who are not the public, by the way. And then the company tanks. And then those guys run away to the next company and they strangle that company out as well. And they keep doing the same thing. So that's private equity firm. If any of you have any other insight on that, leave a comment. Let me know what your insight is on that. But as far as I know, private equity firms don't really help the target company. They eventually make that company go kaput. Now, my other thought to this, now I'm sure a lot of you are going to have something to say about that. So let's have a lively discussion in the comment section. Just keep it kind, though. The other thought to this, and one of my friends brought this up yesterday, was some of these companies that are going out of business are for sustainable living or for not homesteading, but so that we can be more independent and we're not so dependent on other stores or other companies or other big business, like wherever you buy your clothing or your crafting goods or whatever. They want to close all of these stores that give us independence, that give us the ability to be on, independent, be on our own. These kind of people, now I'm not talking about maybe just a private equity firm, but maybe something a little bit beyond that. They're trying to take away our resources. They're trying to take away our ability to take care of ourselves. And now we have to rely on others. So, the best way to control the masses is to take away the food, right? So when you take away the food, now we're going to be very hungry. And who do we go to? We go to people who have the food. And if the government has that in control on lockdown, then we're under their thumb. So I think this is part of that bigger picture. Now, I know it sounds kind of crazy to some of you. You're thinking, Kim, it's fabric and paper. I know, but still, if you can't buy parts for your machine, if you can't buy fabric to do whatever you do, maybe some of you are not just doing this as a hobby. Maybe you actually make your clothing. Maybe you make all of your quilts, from here instead of buying things. Maybe you do a YouTube channel and you make money from that. And now that you can't buy your supplies from JoAnn, it's going to be a little bit more difficult for you to make that money on your YouTube channel, which, by the way, I still don't, but that's beside the point. So don't be fooled by, JoAnn didn't, mismanage their store and now they're just going out of business. I think it's a little bit more sinister. I think it's a shame that has to come down that way, that it has to happen like this. But guess what? We are resilient. We are a community. JoAnn getting out of business. We're just going to find another store. There's so many other quilt shops out there. There's places to find fabric, buy your needles, buy your scissors, buy, thread, whatever you need, it's out there. And as long as we are a community, we can talk amongst ourselves. If we need something, we can borrow this, we can use that, we can trade, whatever. So we'll find a way. So don't give up hope. Just because JoAnn Fabrics is going out of business doesn't mean that's the end all of sewing completely. So, but you guys know that, right? All right. So yes, don't be fooled on this April Fool's Day in 2025. I'll see you guys on the next episode. Bye for now.